So, good afternoon, Tessa.
Hello,
thanks
Deirdre.
for doing this interview.
You're welcome.
We just finished level 2 training.
Yes.
So, how has it been for you?
It's been wonderful. It's. I had a friend send me a text and said, "How are you?" And I said, "I'm tired. I'm emotional. I'm triggered, and I'm wonderful." It's everything combined. It's great to have these. Just drop the stuff. Just drop it, you know, it's just wonderful.
So let me take you back a wee bit.
Okay.
Give me a snapshot of your life before Faster EFT came into it.
Oh, wow. Well, I had left my husband a year earlier because he didn't want to be with me anymore, at least that's what he said. And over for about 2 years, I was completely emotionally depleted. I felt like I couldn't take care of myself anymore. I was living with family. I was lost completely. I had never felt like I felt then, that I could remember. And I couldn't get over him. And I had found Robert about 1.5 years earlier. And I was desperate. And so I called Laura, and I actually called Robert, and then went through this whole thing of, I don't have a lot of money, and whoever I work with has to be the one, because I have to get rid of this, or I don't know what's going to happen. And so I went, and she was so patient and so kind with me, and went through this whole thing with me of this feeling of desperation, and where that came from of it has to be perfect or I won't be able to go on. And so we finally set up an appointment because Robert was out of the country, and so I wasn't going to get to work with Robert. And in 2 hours, along, you know, I don't remember what else she cleared. All I knew was I wasn't waking up thinking of my ex-husband every morning. I wasn't feeling like I couldn't get over him. I was feeling like there was some possibility of healing in my life. I felt lighter. I felt like I had me back. And no matter what I had done before that, I couldn't get me back. And so it was incredibly healing. And when a friend of mine saw me about a week later, she was astonished at the change in me, and she said, "What happened?" And I told her, and she watched a few of Robert's YouTube videos and said, "We have to go to this training." And up until about December, I think, she was coming, and I wasn't, because I didn't think I could ask for time off from work. And finally she said, "Well, now my husband's going to go with me because he doesn't want me to go alone." And so she said, "You ought to just at least ask." So I was being helped along, dragged along. And I asked my boss, and she said yes. And so I came here in February.
And how was it when you got here?
I had come with the intention that Robert would work with me in the seminar. I would get in the hot seat. I was the first person. He asked people why they were here, and I said fear. And about a half hour later, he said, "Who was it that said fear?" And it was me. And so, I was just so relieved. It's like, it is possible. I had been searching all my life. So many things. I think I said this to you last time. I did EST. I mean, you know, how to heal with your mother. I did everything. 12-step, astrology, therapy, group therapy. I mean, I'd seen, I don't know, 6, 7 therapists in my life. Spent thousands and thousands of dollars. I just tried everything that came along. Anything, I would do it. And this was, and so I just felt like, this is it. This is it. This truly gets rid of it. And I was just so grateful.
So what is it, Tessa? Why does Faster EFT work?
It was what I could never get to. No matter what I did, there was this thing in the background. And, you know, why was I choosing relationship after relationship? And just like Robert says, they just kept getting worse. It's like, I didn't leave them because they didn't work. I left them because they weren't bad enough. You know, it wasn't until the last one that I got it. My God, I am never doing this again. But how? This is the how. How do I get rid of that program that made me choose? I mean, at one point for 10 years, I stopped dating because I couldn't stand my choices. Why did I want to travel and I'd never traveled? Why did I have people telling me I could have been vice president and I had never gotten beyond this level? Why, you know, why were people, why did I want a PhD and didn't get it? Instead, you know, I gave myself foot problems so that I couldn't move forward, and I was so clear about that when it was happening. I knew I was keeping myself back. What was that thing that kept me from moving forward? This gets to it. This is the way. I am convinced.
And why do you think it does work? What makes it different from other modalities?
Because it finds what you can't find with your mind. I mean, I'm an analytical person. I studied organizational psychology. I understand. And I couldn't get to it. All the things that I put together, all the things that I understood, didn't get to that place that we get to with this modality. It's a beautiful thing.
So what would you say to someone who is perhaps, like you, depleted, stuck, alone? What would you say to them in order to get them to move forward?
That this is a story from the past. And when you know it's a story, you know you can get rid of it. And what's interesting, I don't even know if this is a cohesive thought, but what's interesting is that I told myself a story that I wasn't afraid. I told myself a story that I could do anything I wanted through willpower, and I did. But there's no inner support for that. It takes an enormous amount of energy from the outside of you to keep that thing happening inside of you. This is easy. This is friendly. This is loving and caring, and it just flows. That took a tremendous amount of energy. And so if you just get the help that you need in a way that you can truly, deeply be helped, you can just live from the inside out.
So Tessa, these are economically challenging times. So what would you say to someone who maybe hasn't got a lot of money and doesn't know whether they should spend the money on this? What would you say to them?
I would ask them what they're spending their money on to cover it up. Cigarettes, ice cream, alcohol, shopping, whatever. Because you're spending it anyway. This is an investment. This is the healing tool. And I don't have a lot of money, you know? I don't have the money to be here. I'm doing it anyway. I believe in it so deeply.
Good job. So finally, Tessa, where do you see the future of Faster EFT?
I think it's explosive. I think it's wow. Yeah, thank you. I don't know if I have words for it. It fits. Every person that I have told about it, every client that I've had so far, understands. If you just try it, you'll get it. And then it's just going to keep spreading. I mean, at level 1, with no confidence, I've had 6 clients. One of them, a minister. One of them who I watched in a depression for a month because of an outside circumstance, just get that release. And the next time I see them, they're smiling, they're relieved, and they're giving testimonials to people that we know. And so it can't help but spread.
And maybe one last comment on Mr. Robert G. Smith. What does he bring to FasterEFT?
He brings an incredible mind who has put this together. And I don't care if he's from Oklahoma, and I don't care about his level of education. He reads things, he sees the big picture, he takes the pieces, and he creates something that just keeps working better and better. I watched some of those videos from 3 and 4 years ago, or those DVDs, and I see how far he's advanced just in these 3 or 4 years. I don't know where he started, but I see how his mind works. And the second part that I see with him is how much he loves people and how genuine he is. He is exactly the same. I'm staying at his house. He is exactly the same. He himself. He's not a fraud. He's not a put-together, polished package. He's just himself. And you feel it, and you know it. And he did it himself. That's the third part. He did it himself. And so whatever it is that I've got is no worse than what he had. And when I feel like I want to give up, I know he didn't give up. And he's a true inspiration in so many ways.
Thank you, Tessa, so very, very much.
Thank you, Deirdre.